I first heard it in the marble-floored lobby of Davison and Company, one of the city's oldest investment banks. I was sweating in new leather shoes I'd scraped together 3 months' paychecks to buy, and clutching a slim portfolio of my innovative blockchain wallet. Slides across from me, the hiring manager, Miss Caldwell, no relation to my former prof, flipped through my deck as though it was a brochure for a children's science museum exhibit. Miss Caldwell, Mr. Moreno, interesting idea, but frankly, you're not cut out for finance. We need analysts who know mergers and acquisitions, not entrepreneurs who tinker with crypto gimmicks. Me voice steady. With respect, Miss Caldwell, traditional finance is evolving. My wallet improves transaction transparency and security. Miss Caldwell, didactics aside, we need risk-averse, not risk-taking. She tapped her pen twice, blue eyes steely. We'll be in touch. That risk-taking hammer fell like a guillotine on my dreams. My heart pounded as I strolled out, head down, as polished bankers and frosted glass elevators whisked them away to luxury trading desks. I called my mentor, Leon, on the street. Me exhale. They said I'm not cut out for finance. Leon warmly, then build your own. Finance isn't a club, it's a tool. Stop begging for entry and redesign the door. He dropped the mic figuratively, and I fell silent. He was right. I loved capital markets, but Wall Street hated my disruptive spirit. So I did what you do when the door slams. I built a new one. By morning, I'd reserved a corner of my apartment as HQ. The kitchen table groaned beneath a second-hand MacBook, a stack of programming books, LED strip lights, and a whiteboard scrawled with Project Pocket Fortune. I hadn't slept. My fingers blurred over the keyboard, scaffolding a prototype of a self-custodial digital wallet. Atomic swaps, multisig, intuitive UI, no more fear of losing seeds or fumbling private keys. I named it LedgerWave. Me to myself, if finance rejected me, I'll put it in their pockets. I recruited 2 college friends, Aina, a UX designer, and Kareem, a back-end savant. Over cold pizza and energy drinks, we sketched wireframes on napkins, then sprinted through Angular components and Rust-based cryptography. By week 2, we had a bare-bones MVP. It ran on a local server. On my browser, I could create wallets, send test tokens, and watch my code light up in the console. But nobody cared. First iteration crashes, crypto market jitters, regulatory uncertainty. I felt the doubt returning. Maybe Caldwell was right. But each time I nearly gave up, I remembered that lobby and its conviction that I didn't belong. That embodied the friction that would fuel me. At the local meetup for fintech hackers, our team set up under a banner reading LedgerWave Finance for the Fearless. We demoed a slick mobile app, swipe to confirm transactions, voice-activated passphrase entry, real-time balance graphs. I watched as bankers in dark suits poked at the screen. Banker, nice animation, kid. But can it handle KYC? Red compliance, scalability, me absolutely. We've integrated a modular KYC API and designed the microservices to scale elastically on Kubernetes. Banker smirking, sure you do. Let me know when you're regulated. They wandered off to the PowerPoint demos by the incumbent's vault-style custody solutions, priced like small Teslas. I glanced at Anna. She shrugged. They don't see the point until their clients demand it. By midnight, only one curious soul remained, a venture associate named Priya, who lingered, eyes bright. Priya, this is incredible. The ease of use, genius. I can get you an intro to a fintech accelerator. Me, really, Priya? Seriously, send me your deck. That night, I rewrote the pitch in 300 words. The problem: 57% of crypto users lose access to keys. Our solution, LedgerWave's self-custody model with social recovery. The market, $12 billion in assets at risk. The traction, 200 beta sign-ups on waiting list. I sent it at 2 a.m., trembling. 2 weeks later, I was in a glass conference room in Soma, San Francisco, facing 3 partners of Aurora Ventures. I spread prototypes and slides across the table. Partner 1, beautiful UI, very consumer-friendly. Partner 2, but compliance, PSD2 in Europe, FATF guidelines, your guest list is massive. Partner 3.
And what's your revenue model? Subscription? Transaction cut? I took a breath. We're blockchain agnostic. We'll launch with our own token for staking. 30% of network fees flow back to us and validators. For compliance, we've partnered with RegiCheck and LegalMint APIs.
I clicked through a flowchart from on-chain data to our backend to the compliance dashboard. The partners leaned in. Partner 1, show me the code. Me, it's open source. Here on GitHub. I pulled up the repo on my laptop. Cryptographic routines in Rust microservices orchestrated by Nomad CI/CD pipelines on Jenkins. My keyboard clattered like machine gun fire. They exchanged glances. Partner 2, we like it. We'd like to lead your seed round. $1 million, safe note with room for a follow. I froze, mind blank except for the size of the round. We would love that. My voice shook. They smiled, I exhaled for the first time in weeks. 6 months later, we launched LedgerWave 1.0 on iOS and Android. A press release from Aurora touted our revolutionary vault-level security in your pocket. Users streamed in crypto-native millennials, skeptical small biz owners, dads wanting to gift Bitcoin. Each download felt like vindication. One afternoon, I logged into analytics and saw an email from Miss Caldwell, the same hiring manager who'd dismissed me. Subject, thank you, body. I downloaded LedgerWave yesterday to manage my small business treasury. Today, I can't imagine going back to our old custodian. My CFO's team loves it. You're cut out for finance after all. I stared at the message, tears stinging. Cut out for finance. Those words, once a rejection, now a compliment. In the break room that afternoon, bankers from Davison and Company hovered near the coffee machine, murmuring about their new digital wallets. Banker 1, have you tried LedgerWave? The performance metrics are astonishing. Banker 2, I've moved my pension plan account over. No more password resets. No more key management nightmares. They clinked mugs and flashed me wry smiles. I grinned, heart booming like a symphony of victory. At home that night, I locked my office door and sat at my desk. LedgerWave hardware wallets lay beside my laptop. Sleek matte black devices shaped like credit cards, engraved with my startup's Wave logo. Staff scattered prototypes of our new biometric smart card, embedded fingerprint sensor, near-field module for instant transactions. I picked up a wallet and ran my thumb over the Wave crest. This was my answer to the doubters. My legacy forged from code, coffee, and conviction. Tomorrow we'd announce our Series A, scale our compliance team, and onboard enterprise clients. But tonight I savored the realization, they said I wasn't cut out for finance. Now, finance carries my wallets. I didn't pause for breath until the lights of the co-working loft dimmed behind me and the echo of clacking keyboards faded into the night. We'd secured our seed round, launched LedgerWave 1.0, and watched downloads climb into the tens of thousands, testament that people craved self-custody, elegant security, a simpler life underpinned by rock-solid code. Yet, as I crossed the empty streets toward home, a familiar dread gripped me. Success can flame out as fast as it ignites, especially when you're playing at the edge of finance and cryptography. If part 1 was about proving I belonged, convincing Miss Caldwell, Aurora Ventures, even my own self, then part 2 would test whether LedgerWave could survive the real world's hard knocks. 1. The security audit that wasn't it started 6 weeks after launch. We'd scaled our AWS cluster to handle the flood of traffic. We'd hired 2 more engineers, an operations specialist, even a UI intern. Confidence buzzed through the loft like fresh neon. Then the email arrived. Subject, you are gent. Security audit results. From security@ledgerwave.com. My heart stopped. We'd engaged a third-party firm, Fortress Sec, to audit our Rust cryptographic modules and AWS IAM policies. We'd paid a premium for their top-tier guarantee. Now their report flashed on my screen. Critical vulnerability found in multi-sig contract. Potential for unauthorized token withdrawals. I read it twice. A 10-line exploit in our Solidity wrapper. A copy-paste error from an open-source sample. Someone could craft a malicious transaction that bypasses our threshold signature verification. On the blockchain, there's no undo button. My phone rang. It was Priya, the Aurora Ventures associate who'd championed us. Priya, Elena, I saw your incident alert. Is it real? Me, yes. We have to fix this immediately. Priya, voice tense. You have 24 hours to patch, deploy, and verify. After that, you'll need a public disclosure and rollback plan. Investors are on standby. I hung up, stomach churning. I called Malik, who'd just left the loft for dinner. Within 10 minutes, he was back, ordering pad thai from DoorDash on his way in. He high-fived me when he arrived, then scanned the report. Malik, it's a simple fix, but we need to patch fast, and we need to notify all users to update their apps. I launched our emergency incident channel in Slack. Lights flickered on the monitors, coffee brewed itself through sheer adrenaline. Lines of vulnerable code scrolled by. At 1 a.m., we had a patch. By 5 a.m., we'd built new wallets, re-rolled our testnet, and rehearsed the update script. Exhausted, I drafted the notification email. Dear LedgerWave user, we've identified and patched a critical vulnerability in our multi-sig module. Please update to v1.0.2 immediately to secure your assets. We apologize for the inconvenience. Your safety is our top priority. At 8 a.m., before the coffee shops opened, we pressed send. By 9 a.m., 85% of active users had updated. FortressSec signed off on the retest. I slumped at my desk, hands shaking, as the audit team's final note dinged my inbox. Issue resolved, no funds were at risk. 5-star remediation. My relief was immense but fragile, tempered by the knowledge that a tiny oversight could have triggered a catastrophic meltdown. 2. The competitor's smear campaign. No sooner had we patched LedgerWave than murmurings appeared on social media and Reddit. LedgerWave got hacked before v1.0.2 avoid. I clicked the link to a Medium post by a self-styled crypto influencer named @BlockSkeptic. Title: LedgerWave vulnerable. Here's why you should use Secure Hold instead. Excerpt: I love LedgerWave's UI, but after hearing rumors of a multi-sig flaw, I dug into their GitHub. It's amateur hour, hardly finance grade. I'd stick to Secure Hold. I felt the blood drain from my face. Secure Hold was our primary competitor, backed by a retired banker with deep connections on Wall Street. They'd watched us eat into their market share. Their engineered whisper campaign could kill us. I called Clara, our customer success lead, who was already fielding panicked tweets. Users were demanding refunds, threatening to delete wallets. Clara, Alex, I'm drowning in DMs. They think we're incompetent. We need a statement, public, transparent. Admit the bug, show the audit report, and share our roadmap for v1.1 security enhancements. Within an hour, I recorded a candid video posted on our blog and Twitter. Hey LedgerWave fam, this is Elena. Yes, we found a multi-sig vulnerability and patched it fast. No funds were compromised, and FortressSec gave us a clean bill of health. We're launching v1.1 next week with real-time security notifications and an optional hardware key integration. We value your trust above all. Thank you for believing in us. I hammered the keyboard at breakneck pace. Blog post, tweet thread, Discord announcement. Then I reached out to Priya at Aurora. Me Slack. Heads up, smear campaign underway. Video posted. Meeting to discuss? Priya. On it. DMing Secure Hold's investors, we're providing full transparency. Hours later, I saw a tweet from Binance's CEO quoting my blog post. Impressive transparency from @LedgerWave. Let's build a safer DeFi together. The tide turned. Users began reposting my video, praising our candor. Secure Hold's post dropped from trending to obscurity. I exhaled, muscles easing for the first time in days. 3. Regulation and the compliance tightrope flush with regained trust. We set our sights north. Institutional adoption. Major fintech firms needed rigorous compliance, KYC, AML, even travel rule enforcement. None of that existed in our v1.0 wallet, but maybe our blockchain-agnostic approach and new security track record could persuade a bank to pilot a branded version of LedgerWave. I booked a flight to London, where Capital Partners Bank had invited us for a POC demonstration. On the plane, I rehearsed compliance specs, remote wallet freeze mechanism, on-chain address whitelisting, GDPR-compliant data storage. I reviewed the lines of code that logged only hashed metadata, not personal info. 3 days later, I stood before a hushed conference room on the 32nd floor of Canary Wharf. The bankers sifted through our architecture slides, diagrams of AWS IAM, HSM security zones, detachable key shares for cold storage. As I spoke, I saw their skepticism melt into curiosity. VP of Innovation, your commitment to privacy is admirable, but we cannot allow unregulated coins. Can you integrate fiat rails? Me, Sep. Absolutely. We've partnered with Payzend and Circle for on-off ramps, with KYC via Onfido. We can tokenize GBP and settle via SWIFT or FPS. Chief Risk Officer. We'll need escrow controls and automated transaction screening. Me's built-in. You define policies via our compliance dashboard. The wallet enforces them at transaction time. They leaned forward, nodding. By the end of the day, we had a pilot agreement, integrate LedgerWave as their retail wallet for GBP and EUR, with user-customizable compliance policies. It was a watershed moment, proof that our fintech solution could thrive in the heavily regulated world of traditional banking. 4. The unexpected partnership back in New York. I arrived at our loft with emails flooding in, design files for co-branded hardware wallets, legal drafts for the London pilot, ticket requests for our upcoming launch event. My mind reeled, but I forced myself to breathe. Then an SMS from an unknown number. Elena, this is Mira Sharma, from Fintech for Good. Loved your Canary Wharf demo. We'd like you to keynote our Social Finance Summit next month. I blinked. Social Finance Summit, an international NGO network pushing financial inclusion in emerging economies. A chance to show how LedgerWave's UX and low-barrier onboarding could help unbanked populations. I replied immediately, honored, count me in. That afternoon, I called Anna, my UX lead. We need to create a simplified global wallets for the summit, single button send, automated exchange rates, localized languages. Anna, on it, we'll use our existing codebase and swap in the language pack. Let's prototype by end of week. As she sketched new screens, I thought back to the day Miss Caldwell told me, you're not cut out for finance. Here I was, empowering banking in remote villages, making finance accessible and equitable. 5. Reflections under the spotlight launch day for LedgerWave V2. Zero arrived in a rush of polished hardware wallets, branded boxes, and a live-streamed event broadcast to 58 countries. Investors, bloggers, fintech bloggers, even Miss Caldwell tuned in to see the next chapter. I paced backstage. Malik gave me a pep talk. Malik, when you step up there, remember every note was just fuel. You've earned this. I nodded and stepped into the spotlight. The LED wall bloomed with the LedgerWave logo as I launched into my keynote. Today, we're not just launching V2.0, we're launching a new era of pocket finance. Version 2.0 secures not only crypto but also fiat, supports multi-jurisdiction compliance, and reaches the unbanked through an open-source tier. Our journey from rejection to global adoption shows one truth: finance is for the fearless. If you're ready to take control of your assets, digital and real, welcome to LedgerWave. The crowd erupted in applause. I felt the same thrill I'd first known when I proved Miss Caldwell wrong. Now I'd proven every doubter, and maybe even inspired a few. Afterwards, as cameras and smartphones flashed, I spotted Miss Caldwell in the front row. She rose and gave a slow, deliberate clap. When our eyes met, she mouthed, "Well done." I tipped an imaginary hat in return. Backstage, the team doused me in water bottles and high fives. My phone buzzed with texts. Priya, congrats, CEO. Fun Tech for Good, Summit keynote slot confirmed. Dad, we're so proud. I slipped outside onto the rooftop terrace, the skyline glittering in the night. I held the hardware wallet prototype in my hand, sleek, black, humming with potential. I realized how far I'd come from a kid rejected by a hiring manager to the founder of a fintech revolution. In that moment, I whispered a silent vow. This is only the beginning. And as the city pulsed below, I knew finance would never be the same, because the gatekeepers had underestimated what one risk taker with a relentless spark could achieve.